Hello everybody, thanks for tuning in. We are the Bourbon Brothers. My name is Gavin.
I'm Jeff.
And today we are drinking Knob Creek Straight Rye Whiskey.
Yeah, so Knob Creek is made by Jim Beam. There is, in addition to the rye, they've got a couple different bourbons as well as flavored whiskey if that's your jam. Not ours, but to each their own. This is a product that's been on the market for about 3 years now. They started with the bourbon and have expanded from there.
Yeah, we actually reviewed Knob Creek Rye Whiskey when we first started doing videos about early 2014. The file was corrupt for some reason and we weren't actually able to upload it. And so we just got around to buying another bottle of it 3 years later. And it's definitely not as good as it used to be.
Yeah, we definitely learned a lesson too with that one.
Yes.
Make sure the video file is not corrupted before you finish the bottle.
Absolutely.
With the Knob Creek, there's no age statement, but as we've started to see with other Beam products that are dropping age statements or what have you, there's not quite as much oomph, as much age as there used to be in their products, and we've certainly noticed that with this one.
Yeah, we've definitely seen a lower standards in quality around Jim Beam, which is unfortunate, but we will go ahead and review this nonetheless. We'll jump right into the news.
For me, this tastes a little bit more like a bourbon than a rye. I'm
sure.
guessing there's a decent bit of corn in the mash bill, but certainly not a high rye whiskey. But that Jim Beam yeast definitely prevalent there.
It's definitely a younger whiskey. It is straight, so it's at least 2 years old. Maybe 3 if I had to guess. It is fairly light in the glass.
Yeah, some sweet notes like vanilla, caramel. Also mainstays of the nose.
Yeah, a good bit of corn, a little herbalness, floating around the glass, and just a touch of that rye spice. Yeah, overall it's a very shallow nose, so hopefully it's a little better on the taste. We'll go ahead and let you know. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, at the tip is a little bit of sweetness that quickly fades, but it's kind of like a chocolatey, note.
Yeah, and then after that you've got the yeast, also prevalent as most Beam products have. Some little bit of herbal undertones there.
There is a very sharp rye spice on the back end of the palate. And that kind of just leads into a dry, albeit short finish. It fades. For being a very sharp spice, it fades rather quickly.
Yeah, less sweet overall than the nose was. A little bit more of that rye influence on the taste, which I guess is a plus.
Yeah.
But not overly varied on the palate.
Yeah,
as far as
it's
the taste profile.
not too complex on the palate. Jeff, this can be found usually around $30. You can find it on sale for around $22, $23, $24 if you're lucky, but usually around $30. So for that price point, it's not really something I would want to drink neat all the time. And to be honest, for that price, I could probably find some better mixers that have a little more punch, as well. So it's kind of like a lose-lose there for this particular bottle.
Yeah, it's unfortunate there's been a little bit of a drop, I think, in quality with this product. But with the shortage, whether or not Jim Beam believes there is one, we've seen, I think their products have been at least affected by a shortage of bourbon. Gavin, for the Bourbon Brothers rating for Knob Creek Straight Rye Whiskey, what will we give them?
It's 2016, and right now I think Knob Creek Rye Whiskey is going to get a C from the Bourbon Brothers.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I agree. Needs a little more oomph to it, a little more rye heavy notes in there. I think would really help this out a little bit.
So we hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching until the end. You can find us both on Twitter at BourbonBReviews